A humble employee calms a distressed autistic boy. And what happens next is unimaginable. Sam sat at his cluttered desk, the buzzing fluorescent lights overhead casting a cold glow on an endless sea of paperwork. A humble office clerk in a sprawling corporate building, he often felt like a ghost in the bustling chaos of the city. Surrounded by sharply dressed colleagues chatting about mergers and bonuses, Sam was invisible, a shadow slipping through the cracks of the corporate world. But today, with the sun breaking through the clouds like a giant spotlight, he made a rare choice. He grabbed his sandwich and slipped out into the cheerful warmth of a nearby park, hoping to escape the gray confines of his routine. The park thrummed with life, birds chirped, children laughed, and the air was fragrant with blooming flowers. But just beyond the cheerful chaos lay a small figure, trembling on the edge of the playground. A young boy, no older than 7, sat on the grass, his face scrunched with worry. Sam's heart ached at the sight. "Hey there," he said softly, taking a cautious step closer. The boy's big eyes widened, filling with tears that threatened to spill over. "What's wrong?" he asked, feeling a lump rise in his throat. The boy's distress was palpable, like the tension before a storm. "I'm lost," the boy blurted out, his small voice barely rising above the park's laughter. Sam noticed the flickering world around him fade, drowning out laughter and chatter as he became absorbed in the boy's panic. "My name's Leo," the boy whispered, eyes darting around, searching for something just out of reach. Sam knelt down, the grass cool against his knees. "You're okay, Leo. Let's find your mom together." Somehow, Leo's tiny hand slipped into Sam's, and he felt a shocking warmth spread through him. For the first time in a long while, he felt visible. The connection sparked something deep within, a feeling of purpose. Just as they began to scan the park, a frantic woman burst onto the scene, panting and wild-eyed. "Leo!" "Oh, thank God!" she cried, grabbing the boy. Her voice trembled, skirting the edge of panic, sending ripples of fear through Sam. "Mom!" Leo exclaimed, relief flooding his voice even as his mother held him close, almost too tight. "I met a new friend." "What were you thinking?" she snapped, her eyes darting suspiciously towards Sam, drenching him with fear of being accused. But then, amidst her anger, she blurted out something that sent shivers down Sam's spine. "I can't lose you, not after what happened last time." The words hung heavy in the air. Sam felt his heart race. What could that mean? Before he could ask, Leo's mother spun around, leaving with her son, her urgency now palpable. Yet Sam couldn't shake the feeling that Leo was special, something that made him extraordinary. Just as he turned to leave, he noticed dark figures lurking at the park's edge, eyeing them both with unsettling intensity. Sam's stomach twisted. He had to protect Leo. He had to know more about what he had stumbled into. But then, Leo vanished from sight, swallowed by the crowd. What had just begun as a chance encounter morphed into a tangled web of secrets, courage, and unseen forces. Would he find Leo again? What did those figures want? Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Sam turned, scanning the park with a growing sense of dread. The dark figures hadn't budged. Their intent eyes felt like a weight on his chest. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were after something or someone. Suddenly, an anguished cry sliced through the air, a sound so raw it froze Sam in place. It came from the direction where Leo and his mother had disappeared. His heart raced. He dashed toward the noise, pushing through the crowd, weaving between joggers and parents. "Leo!" he shouted, panic rising. What was happening? As he reached the other side of the park, he stumbled upon a scene that stole the breath from his lungs. Leo's mother was kneeling on the ground, cradling her son, who lay motionless in the grass. Sam's heart seized. He rushed forward. "Is he okay?" Desperate urgency clawed at his throat. He could see the woman's face twisted in fear, her hands trembling as she checked Leo's pulse. The figures had vanished, leaving a haunting silence where their presence had once loomed. "No, no, no," she cried, her voice cracking. "Please, Leo." Sam dropped to his knees, instinctively reaching for Leo's small body. The child's skin felt cold, lifeless. Panic surged through him like an electric current. Accusation twisting in the air. "What? I didn't do anything. I was trying to help." The accusation stung, igniting a fire inside him. But as she continued to glare, something shifted in her expression. Her eyes widened with recognition. "You." I stepped back instinctively, fear churning in his stomach. The connection he felt moments before, now soured into confusion. "What do you mean?" Just then, the sirens grew louder. But the commotion felt distant, like a dream bubbling at the surface of his consciousness. "You're one of them," she breathed, her voice low and filled with a strange mixture of horror and realization. "What are you talking about?" Trying to process her words, but they slipped away like water. Then her face flushed, terror and something else, something darker, stirring in her eyes. "We have to get him out of here," she hissed, suddenly looking around, as if the shadows themselves were poised to pounce. Hesitation gripped Sam. Everything was unraveling. "What is happening? Who are you?" But she ignored him, gathering her son tightly, cradling his head against her shoulder. "You have no idea what you've stumbled into." Before Sam could demand answers, Leo's small hand twitched. His eyes fluttered open, revealing a depth of understanding that sent chills racing down Sam's spine. "Mom?" Leo's voice was barely a whisper, breaking through the silence. Then, looking right at Sam, he asked, "Who are you?" In that moment, everything shifted. Leo's voice, once sweet and innocent, now held a weight that sent shivers through the air. Sam's heart pounded. It wasn't just fear he felt. It was a strange, unsettling dread, as if he had crossed into a world he shouldn't understand. "Don't talk to him," his mother shrieked, scrambling backward as though Sam were a monster set to strike. But the realization struck him with brutal force. Leo might know something important. Sam needed to know why everything felt so wrong. And as the ambulance arrived, sirens blaring and lights flashing, he realized he was no longer just a passerby. He was woven into a dark, tangled web. What had Leo's mother meant? What did Leo know? Sam's mind raced, dizzy with daunting questions, and he felt the air thicken with uncertainty. The shadows around them loomed larger, waiting to reveal secrets that threatened everything he thought he knew. Leo blinked up at Sam, confusion written all over his small face. In that moment, everything around them seemed to shrink, the cacophony of the park fading away into nothing. Sam felt the weight of the world pressing down on his chest. "Who are you?" Leo echoed, his voice thin and delicate. "Leo, it's okay, I'm here to help," Sam said, desperation clawing at his throat. But the boy's mother was still there, fear, turning her eyes into desperate wells of anxiety. "Don't look at him, Leo," she shouted, her voice cracking as she shifted protectively over her son. Her reaction was like ice water poured over Sam. "He's not safe. We have to go, now." "What do you mean, he's not safe?" Sam's voice grew louder, panic creeping in again. "He's just a boy. Stay back." She pulled Leo even tighter, her gaze flicking around them like a startled animal. "You have no idea what you're dealing with." But Sam had to know. Something was drastically wrong. "Please tell me what's happening." He stepped closer despite her warning. Suddenly, the ground beneath them vibrated slightly, a low rumble that raised the hairs on the back of Sam's neck. It came from the distant edge of the park, where the dark figures had vanished. "What is that?" Leo whimpered. Then, like a bolt from the blue, a blinding light surged from that corner, illuminating everything with a sickly green hue. Gasps erupted from onlookers as everyone turned toward the source of the commotion. The air crackled with tension, thick like fog. "Run!" Leo's mother shouted, and in a frenzied panic, she yanked Leo to his feet. But it was too late. The light exploded in a spectacular flash, engulfing them all. Sam felt his feet lift off the ground, shock pulsing through him like electric shockwaves. Time seemed to slow. He could see the horror play out in distorted colors. The world around him transformed, bending and warping. He felt his body being pulled, stretched. With a final jolt, everything snapped back. They landed not in the park, but in a swirling vortex of shadow and light. Sam blinked, struggling to comprehend what had just happened. He was no longer in the cheerful park. Surrounding him were strange, dark figures, now clearer, more ominous. Their expressions were blank, eyes hollow, as if they'd come from a nightmare. "Leo!" Sam screamed, panic racing again. "Where are you?" But he was alone, and the silence was suffocating. Then he heard a voice, Leo's voice. "Sam? Are you here?" "Leo!" Sam called out, scrambling to find him. "I can't see you." Suddenly, a shadow loomed over him, a dark figure stepping closer. The air buzzed with tension. "You shouldn't have come here, Sam. You've messed with things beyond your understanding." "Who are you?" Sam's voice trembled, fear crashing against him like waves. "We've been watching," the figure whispered, a taunting smile curling its lips. "And you're the key." "The key?" What did that even mean? Before he could ask more, he heard Leo's mother scream, "You have to protect him. He doesn't know." But the shadows wrapped tighter around Sam, crushing his chest, making it hard to breathe. "Protect him. Protect." Oh. Then, everything shifted again. The light flared anew and Sam felt himself being yanked backwards. "No!" he screamed, stretching out his hands, clawing for something. Anything, as a cold dread enveloped Sam. He couldn't comprehend the sheer horror surrounding him. He felt his mind teetering on the edge of understanding. To believe he could trust Leo. Everything began to unravel. "Leo, become," he whispered, fear locking his heart in a vice. In that moment, Sam realized he had stumbled into a reality far more twisted than he ever imagined. And the real question echoed in the air, a question that pounded in his chest and rattled his bones. What truth had Leo been hiding all along? "Leo, what have you become?" Sam whispered, fear pooling in his stomach. A low chuckle escaped from the glowing boy. "You should have listened," Leo said, voice echoing like distant thunder. "It's time for you to learn the truth." Before Sam could respond, the ground shook again. This time, it felt like an earthquake rippled beneath him. The shadows seemed to twist, almost coming alive, forming dark shapes that loomed ominously closer. Terrified, Sam stumbled back, searching for Leo's mother, but she had disappeared into this swirling abyss. "Leo!" Sam shouted, panic clawing at his throat. "Where's your mom?" "I don't know," Leo replied, his glowing eyes narrowing. "But she lied to you. We all did." "What do you mean?" Sam's voice cracked. "What did she lie about?" Silence hung heavy. Leo's expression shifted from confusion to something darker, heavier. "You're not meant to be here. None of us are meant to be here. But you are special." "Special?" The word felt like a slap. "What makes me special? I'm just a clerk. I'm just—" Leo's laugh cut through the void, sharp and unsettling. "Just a clerk? No, Sam, you're more than that. You always have been." The shadows shifted again. With a sudden jolt, Leo's mother appeared out of nowhere, and her eyes were wide, frantic. "Leo, no!" She lunged toward him, but the shadows surged, blocking her path. "Stay away from him," she screamed. "You have no idea what you're doing." "Mom, stop!" Leo shouted, frustration mixing with fear. "Listen to me." But the darkness thickened, wrapping around Leo's mother, pulling her backward toward a blinding void. Sam felt his heart race, the stakes rising higher. "Tell her the truth, Leo," he cried out, desperation filling every syllable. "What is happening?" The glowing light intensified in Leo's eyes. "The truth is, I'm not just a boy. I'm the key to something much larger. And you were the one who unlocked it." "Unlocked what?" And then it hit him like a punch to the gut. "The park, the dark figures, the energy, everything. You don't belong to this world, do you?" Leo's expression shifted, revealing a deep sadness underneath his glowing veneer. "No. I come from a place where emotions are energy, and beings like me can manipulate it. This was never about finding my mom. It was always about you." Before Sam could process those words, a sudden crack split the air. Lightning struck, blinding him. For a second, when the light faded, everything changed. The landscape morphed, shifting like a restless tide. Sam felt the ground beneath him give way, revealing a vast expanse of swirling colors and shapes. The shadows screamed like banshees, and in the chaos, Leo's mother wailed. And then, from the chaos, someone stepped forward, a figure emerging from the shadows. It was a woman. Sam's breath caught. "Mom?" he gasped, recognizing her from freshly remembered dreams. "But how?" The realization fled, replaced by confusion and dread. Why was she here? What was happening? "It was me all along," the woman said, voice steady among the chaos. "I've been waiting for you to remember, Sam." Leo's eyes flared with anger or something darker. "This isn't about you." He turned away from her, and it shattered the small world Sam had just begun to grasp. Remember what? Sam felt his heart race. The pieces weren't fitting. "What do you mean?" "So much more than you think, Sam," his mother replied, stepping closer, shadows swirling around her as if drawn to her presence. "You have to understand." A deafening roar erupted from the void, shaking everything. Sam could feel the world collapsing around him. He turned back to Leo. "What is your deal? You have to tell me." But Leo only shook his head, eyes flashing with worry. "You need to wake up, Sam, before it's too late." With that, he was yanked toward the darkness, just as the shadows began closing in on Leo's mother. Sam reached out, but they vanished, swallowed by the sudden quiet. Staring into the void, Sam felt the weight of secrets pressing down on him. The truth was lurking, waiting for him. "Mom, Leo, what am I supposed to learn?" he whispered, gripping the panic rising in his chest. But before he could even process the fear bubbling inside him, he realized he was utterly alone in this spiraling darkness, left with one haunting question: who was he really? Sam felt his heart race, the darkness swallowing him whole while his mind spiraled. With questions. "Who am I really?" he whispered, his voice trembling against the void. The silence echoed back, thick and oppressive. Then suddenly the swirling shadows around him began to stir. Figures emerged, flickering like images in an old film. He squinted, trying to focus. They came into view, distorted faces blurring together, and then it hit him like a slap. "Mom," he gasped, disbelief choking him. "What are you doing here?" But it wasn't just her. There were others too. Faces he recognized and some he didn't. All of them were looking at him as if he were a strained thread on the verge of snapping. "You have to remember," his mother cried, desperation lining her. "You need to learn the truth before it's too late." "Learn what?" Sam's words came out shaky, confusion wrapping around him like a cold blanket. "What truth?" Without warning, the shadows thickened, crackling with energy, and a brilliant flash erupted in front of him. Instinctively, he shielded his eyes, squinting against the blinding light. Then, through the glare, he saw it, a portal opening, twisting reality, showing snippets of moments long buried. He saw himself as a child, standing on the playground in that very park, laughter ringing in the air. But something felt off. One image flashed brighter than the others. He saw Leo standing by the swings, illuminated in a warm glow. his expression serious. Sam, Leo's voice cut through, pulling him back. You have to open your eyes. What are you talking about? Sam shouted, heart hammering in his chest. What do I need to see? Suddenly, with a deafening crack, the sky above them shattered like glass. It scattered into shards, revealing something bleak and dark behind. Shadows poured through, deeper and more menacing than before, filling Sam with fear. Look, a voice shouted, a stranger standing at the edge of the chaos. You've awakened them. Awakened who? Sam felt the blood drain from his face, drowning in terror. And then came the twist. The shadows morphed, swirling and congealing into a single shape. It was Leo. His form twisted, eyes glowing an eerie green. But he wasn't just Leo anymore. Sam, his voice rumbled, low and guttural, as the boy he once knew shed layers of innocence. I was never just a boy. Shock gripped Sam, grounding him in place. What do you mean? Everything was a lie, Leo continued. I needed you to bring out the truth. You're the one who has the power to cross worlds. What? How could I possibly have that? In that moment, Leo's mother lunged forward, her face twisted with rage. No, he can't know. You have to stop this. Stop what? Sam felt as if the ground was collapsing beneath him. What are you all hiding? That's when the air shifted, vibrating as if it had come alive. Leo's transformation was complete. He stood taller, the glowing eyes piercing right into Sam's soul. You once knew. You were chosen, Sam. You unleashed something greater than all of us. Before any more questions could form, a powerful surge shot through the air. Shadows lunged at Sam, wrapping around his limbs. It was suffocating, constricting. He could hear the gasp of the figure, his mother. A plea caught in her throat. Then, without warning, everything shattered again. A scream rang out, a gut-wrenching sound that made Sam's heart stop. It was Leo, but he didn't look like Leo. His face twisted in agony as his form split, revealing a monstrous entity that pulsed with dark energy, eyes swirling with chaos. You have to run, he shouted, his voice distorted, a mix of fear and something primal. Sam stumbled back, confusion churning into horror. Everything he thought he knew crumbled away. Then, in a blink, the nightmare vanished as the entity lunged at him. Coldness engulfed him, the light faded, and Sam was alone again, torn between reality and the cosmic chaos that had just begun. What had Leo become? What would happen next? The questions echoed in his mind as he felt an unseen force pulling him towards an unknown fate. Sam stood there, breathless. The darkness pulsed around. Shadows swirling like predatory tendrils. A blinding light erupted just as suddenly as it faded. And Sam could hear Leo's distorted voice, whispering pieces of truth, but they danced out of reach. Too painful, too real. Stop, Sam shouted, panic creeping into his throat. The ground felt unstable, tremors shaking him with every heartbeat. He was on the edge of understanding, but couldn't grasp it. Run, the figure that had once been Leo cried, his voice a haunting mixture of urgency and desperation. You've got to get out. Just then, a deafening roar filled the void. The entity lunged at Sam, only to recoil as if struck, sending ripples through the darkness. That's when the clear, unnerving sound of laughter broke through, a chilling wind that cut through the confusion. Did you really think you could escape the truth? A sleek figure slipped through the shadows, gliding forth with an unsettling calm. Sam squinted, recognition dawning. Who are you? Sam's heart raced. He'd seen that face in moments buried deep in his memory. It was his father, a visage he thought lost forever. Dad? Sam whispered, disbelief slicing through his fear. How was he here? I never wanted you to find out this way, his father said, a mix of sadness and revelation weaving through his tone. But you're treading in waters far deeper than you realize. Why are you in? My nightmare, Sam replied, the question tinged with outrage and confusion. What do you mean? And that's when it happened. Without warning, the shadows surrounding Leo shuddered, and in a blink, the boy's expression transformed. Sam, you have to choose, Leo screamed, his voice breaking. You don't know what you're unleashing. No, no, Sam shouted, fear clawing at his chest. What do you mean? Choose what? Your father, Leo replied, his voice suddenly reflective of a deeper understanding. You've awakened something inside of him as well. What did you just say? The weight of Leo's words crashed over Sam like a tidal wave. He turned to his father, searching for any sign of reassurance. You're not involved in this, you can't be. But the shadows pulsated around them, dark tendrils closing in. You don't understand, Sam. I had to find a way to reach you, his father said, stepping closer. You hold the key to breaking the cycle. Anger surged through Sam. You left, you abandoned us. He felt acrid betrayal deep in his gut. Why come back now? Why here? Because the truth is more profound than you think, his father said. Breath steady even as the shadows began inching closer. Everything you know is a lie. You are destined to awaken powers. Powers that belong to our family lineage. What powers? Sam's voice quivered, confusion mixing with a flutter of curiosity. What are you even talking about? Then the ground beneath them trembled again, and from the depths of the shadows, a vision emerged. Cracked images played out. A woman, cloaked and dark-eyed, poring over ancient texts, ominous rituals, whispers of forbidden knowledge. Sam's breath quickened. The shadows murmured, weaving tales he didn't understand. And then, Leo's form shifted dramatically. It's too late. You're caught in the nexus, Sam. You have to choose. Stay and risk everything, or break free while you still can. Just as despair threatened to swallow him whole, Leo's expression solidified into fierce determination. You have what it takes, he insisted, determination burning in those glowing eyes. But you have to. Trust yourself. Trust your soul's true path. Before Sam could respond, another ear-splitting crack echoed through the chaos. The air fractured, a jagged tear opening wide, pulling everything into its maw. Sam felt the cold breath of the unknown wrap around him like shackles. Suddenly, the shadows lunged forward, dragging him down into darkness as everything he thought he knew spiraled into oblivion. In that moment of utter bewilderment, another thought struck him with clarity. Who was he really? Would he let the shadows claim him? Would he abandon the ones he loved? The abyss closed in, and all he could do was scream. Sam echoed hollowly, the last word fading into nothing as the light and hope vanished. The darkness enveloped him, leaving only questions swirling in the void. Sam screamed as darkness consumed him. He felt the cold emptiness wrap around him tighter, suffocating him in confusion and dread. The shadows were encroaching, whispering secrets just out of reach, taunting him with their silence. His heart pounded, every beat echoing against the void. Suddenly, a blinding flash illuminated the darkness, a shockwave of light, bright and raw, washing over him. He squinted, struggling to find his bearings. Just as he thought he might slip away into the abyss, the light crystallized into a figure. A woman, cloaked in a shimmer of light and shadow, stepped from the brilliance, her eyes glinting with an otherworldly power. Sam, she reached out, her hand outstretched. It's time to wake up. For a moment he felt drawn to her presence, an unseen pull tethering him to reality. Who are you? He stammered. The feeling of familiarity tugged at his memory, but he couldn't grasp why. I've been waiting, she replied, her voice calm but urgent. You must remember. With every word, the shadows around them seemed to hiss, recoiling from her light. Remember what? His heart raced as he felt the solid ground quake beneath him. What's this all about? But the woman didn't answer. Instead, she turned to the shifting shadows, her determination fierce. You don't belong in this place. You must leave before they claim you. In that instant, darkness surged forward, lunging at Sam once more. He stumbled back, trying to evade the cold grip of terror. "No, I won't go back." The woman's expression hardened. "You have to face the truth." Then, like thunder, the world around them trembled, and Sam caught a glimpse of a reflection. His own face, twisted and contorted with fear. But the next moment made his heart drop. The face wasn't just his. Behind him, in the chaotic shadows, his father stood. "Sam, no." "Dad?" Sam gasped, disbelief stinging. "How is this possible?" In that breath, everything unraveled. His father's expression morphed into something dark, eyes gleaming with secrets. "You need to stop listening to her, Sam. She's trying to manipulate you." "What?" The feeling of betrayal washed over him. "Why would she do that? I don't understand." "Because she's not who you think she is," his father shouted, desperation spilling from every word. "She's been waiting for you to grasp your potential, not for your sake, but for her own." And then the shadows surged. They erupted with energy, swirling and compressing into a vortex that threatened to devour Sam whole. Turning back to the woman, desperation tightened in his chest. "Is this true? Are you lying to me?" But her face shifted, the serene mask cracking just enough to reveal a glimpse of her true self, cold and calculating. "You are the key, Sam. You don't even know. You don't even know that everything has been orchestrated. Your life, your fears, your choices." "Stop." Sam's voice broke, tears welling out. "You're spinning lies around my life. What truth could be so important?" Just then, Leo's voice pierced through the chaos. "Sam," he cried, now visible again, his presence a flickering light in the storm. "You've got to trust your instincts. You can't let her pull you into her darkness." As the ground split and shadows closed in, Sam felt one last surge, one glimmer of hope. "Leo, help me." But before the chaos could swallow him again, the woman screamed, "You'll regret this." In a flash, reality twisted and the darkness ripped open. Sam felt himself trapped between two worlds, his mind racing as everything spiraled. Then everything stopped. The shocking silence pressed down on him, and from the stillness, a single voice echoed through his mind. "Sam, you're not the only one with secrets. You're just the beginning." Terror chilled him as every piece of the puzzle began to shift. What did that mean, and just how deep did the rabbit hole go? "Sam, you're not the only one with secrets. You're just the beginning." The voice sent icy tendrils coiling around Sam's heart. All the noise of the shadows faded, leaving only that single sentence hanging in the air like a low hum. The unending swirl of darkness pulsed in time with his pounding heart. And then it happened. A blinding light erupted from within the void, and the world shook. Sam shielded his eyes, feeling the very fabric of reality tear apart. Colors burst in every direction, and figures, familiar yet twisted, swirled within the light. "Sam," Leo's voice pierced through the chaos, clear and sharp. "You have to see beyond the veil." When the light dimmed, Sam felt the cold grip of fear once more. The woman, the one he thought might be a guide, now looked warped, her features twisting and turning, morphing into something grotesque. "Sam, listen," she shouted. But this time, her voice was not as serene. It was filled with an urgency that warranted his full attention. "You're not just someone caught in a web. You have lineage, power that can break the chains." As her words settled over him, a new vision flashed before Sam. Ethereal snapshots of a distant castle, of ancient scripts sprawled across ancient stone, and rituals that hummed with dark energy. His breath hitched. What lineage, what power? Then the shadows surged, seemingly alive and restless. The dark tendrils wrapped tighter around him, just as Leo's voice called out, "Your father has a deep connection to this world, Sam." "No," Sam shouted, horror splattering across his face. He turned to his father, desperately seeking a familiar comfort. But instead, he saw a man shriveling in the glow of shadows, his father's face twisted in uncertainty, fear deepening the lines etched around his eyes. "You need to wake up, Sam," he gasped, just before the shadows closed in again around him, reaching for the flickering light that surrounded his son. The moment froze, caught in a strange standoff between darkness and light. But then, a jarring sound sliced through the tension, a booming crack like thunder. The air shimmered before falling silent. And just like that, the endless cacophony shifted. With a sudden jolt, the figures materialized clearly once more, but they were no longer distorted, no longer blurred among lights and shadows. They stepped forward with clarity, revealing their true identities. Sam's breath caught in his throat. Wait, that's Mom? The realization crashed over him violently. The woman he thought was his guide was his mother, but she was different. Gone was the warmth he linked to her. Instead, a fierce glow radiated from her eyes, illuminating the darkness. "Don't you see?" she exclaimed. Her voice layered with strength and conviction. "You are part of a legacy, and we have been protecting it." "You're lying." They were words filled with disbelief, but his heart felt heavy. All of this was a lie? Not a lie, Sam, she insisted with determination. A protection, a shield against dual worlds. We were always watching over you. As Sam stumbled backward, trying to grasp her words, Leo stepped closer through the swirling chaos. Your mother has been the guardian of truth, watching every moment until this day. Her power is bound to yours, and they are linked in ways we can't yet explain. But before Sam could fully comprehend this new reality, a blaring siren cut through the void, a jarring reminder of urgency. You have to choose, Sam. Choose us or the darkness. His heart raced. But what if I want to choose neither? And then it hit him. The truth of their lineage, the weight of it suffocating. Secrets binding them to destinies unknown. Yet a single question remained, echoing in his mind. Who are we really? Before the shadows could consume anybody else, Sam steadied himself. He took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders against the weight of their fate. What did this mean for their collective future, for his identity, and just what kind of power could they harness if they united? In that moment of thinking, the ground beneath him began to tremble, provoking an air of uncertainty. Time itself felt on the brink of shattering. But what lay beyond that chaos? What was yet to come? Sam felt the world tremble around him, a chaotic storm of uncertainty. Who are we really? He had shouted moments before, and now those words echoed in his mind. The shadows writhed and whispered, each syllable dripping with secrets. His mother stood in front of him, but now her eyes glimmered with a sinister light. "It's time you learned the truth, Sam," she said, voice steady as a rock, but laced with an unsettling undercurrent. Sam's heart raced. "Stop hiding," he demanded, desperation climbing within him. "Just tell me." Then the air thickened, charged with energy. The moment stretched, and all eyes fell upon Sam. Every breath felt heavy with anticipation. Suddenly, the shadows surged forward, swirling in a frenzy. They converged around Sam, pulling at him, forcing memories to the surface. Faces flashed, people he had thought were lost, moments he had tried to forget. Panic clawed at him, and he shouted in protest, "Sam, you've always been part of this." Leo's voice broke through the chaos filled with urgency. "You need to remember why you're here." For a split second, Sam felt a flicker of recognition. Images of a life before this, before the shadows and darkness. It was a flash, distant, nearly out of reach, but he held on to it. His mother shifted closer, shadows surrounding her like a protective barrier. "The truth is not pretty, but it's necessary." "Necessary for what?" Sam pressed, confused anger bubbling up. "Necessary for you." "To understand your connection to Leo," she replied, voice now almost pleading. "He is more than just a boy to you, Sam. He's tied to your fate in ways you can't even imagine." But before he could fully grasp her words, everything changed. The shadows, which had been swirling around the edges, froze, and a piercing scream shattered the tense air. It came from the depths behind Sam. Another figure stepped forward. a tall, imposing silhouette. Sam squinted, his breath hitching, recognizing the familiar stance. "Dad?" he croaked. The figure uncoiled, emerging from the shadows. "You have to listen, Sam," his father shouted, urgency painting his voice desperate. "We're running out of time." "Here?" Sam questioned, disbelief and anger waging war in his heart. "You left us." "I did what I had to." His father's face twisted, pain etched in every line. "You must know the truth." And then came the shocking twist that shattered everything Sam thought he understood. Without warning, his father's skin flickered like a faulty light, transforming before his eyes. In an instant, it wasn't his father standing there anymore. It was the dark figure Sam had seen lurking on the sidelines, with hollow eyes and a twisted grin. "What are you?" Sam gasped, horror washing over him in waves. The figure's laughter echoed through the chaos, chilling Sam to his core. "Your father was never here, Sam. He's been gone for a long time." "No," Sam shouted, shrinking back. "What does that mean? Where is he?" "Where he belongs," the figure taunted, his voice mocking. "And you are just a pawn in this grand game, waiting to unlock the true power buried deep within you." "Stop," Sam yelled, every nerve ending screaming in protest. "This can't be real." But the shadows resonated with the figure's words, vibrating, laughing, wrapping around Sam in a suffocating embrace. He looked back at his mother, but her expression had shifted. Horror lined her face, grief tangled with anger. "You were meant to be the shield against this darkness, Sam, to protect what remains. But the darkness is already here." Sam's voice trembled, fear rising like bile. "What can I do?" "You have to wake up," Leo shouted, eyes gleaming with a light that was both hopeful and haunting. "Before it's too late, before the truth destroys us all." In that moment, everything shifted again. The ground quaked violently, and the shadows pulled tighter, threatening to consume Sam. He felt himself slipping away, the world dissolving around him, and with one final scream, everything went black. What was happening? Where had everyone gone? The truth, a truth he had not yet grasped, was waiting for him to discover it. Would he embrace it, or would the darkness engulf him completely? Sam stumbled, the weight of the shadows around him clawing at his mind. He felt the suffocating grip of despair tightening, the screams of the forms he once recognized echoing through the darkness. "No, I won't succumb," he shouted, his voice quaking but resolute. "Wake up, Sam." Leo's urgent voice pulled him back, stronger than the clinging shadows. He turned, seeing Leo at the precipice of the chaos, glowing brighter than the darkness sought to suppress. "You have the power. Claim it." With that, a jolt of clarity surged through him, igniting a fire within his chest. He thought of the connection he shared, the moments of laughter, the warmth of friendship. This wasn't just a battle against shadows. It was a journey to reclaim a piece of himself. He released a fierce yell, the very sound vibrating through the void. "Enough!" Sam screamed, reaching deep into the core of his being. The shadows recoiled, an echo of shock rippling through their forms. "You won't take my family. You won't take Leo." A blinding light erupted around him, a heavenly embrace pushing back against the encroaching gloom. He felt the shadows quaking, breaking apart, fracturing under the force of his newfound resolve. "Sam," his mother cried, tears mingling with the light, "you're breaking the cycle." With a fierce breath, he extended his hand toward her. Together, Sam's mind raced, and, suddenly, he remembered. He gathered all the emotions churning inside him, the love, the loss, the longing, forged into something formidable. As the light expanded, shadows retreated, howling with rage. In this moment, Sam felt the weight of every choice he had made, every moment he had shared with those he loved. He was more than a pawn. He was alive, and that itself was power. The dark figure, no longer his father, shrieked in anguish, trying to gather the shadows for one last assault. But Sam, embodying the clarity of truth, erupted with a force that shattered the darkness completely. With an overwhelming roar, that shook the very fabric of their reality. Sam roared, "I am here. I am whole." And then, silence. The shadows dissolved, leaving only glowing remnants as they dissipated into the ether. The once oppressive darkness faded away, and the park that had been the backdrop of chaos returned, a surreal tranquility enveloping it. The warmth of sunlight kissed his skin, pulling him from the brink of despair. Sam turned, breathless, scanning the familiar scene. There stood Leo, his face bright with relief, his form untainted. "You did it," he beamed, eyes glimmering like stars. Then his mother pulled Sam into a fierce embrace, her warmth grounding him. "You've done the impossible. You brought us back." "But is it over?" he asked, heart racing with uncertainty. Leo nodded, a gentle smile touching his lips. "For now, but your journey has just begun." Sam absorbed that truth, feeling empowered. The world felt brighter. A smile crept onto his face, and together with Leo and his mother, he walked into the sunlight, releasing breaths he didn't know he had been holding. As they exited the shadows and into the light of the park, everything felt different. Fresh air filled their lungs. Birds chirped overhead as laughter echoed in the distance. Hope blossomed, tethering them to the feeling of being alive. "This is just the beginning, Sam," Leo said, glancing at the horizon. "We'll explore the mysteries ahead together." And for the first time in what felt like forever, Sam didn't feel fear. He felt alive, fully present in the moment, ready to forge a new path. With a powerful resolve forged in the warmth of companionship, they stepped forward, leaving the darkness behind. But wait, you have to subscribe right now. Don't miss any of the next exclusive stories coming your way. Smash that like button right now because it really helps the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about this ending. Let's discuss. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this ends. Your support makes all the difference. Show us you're a real fan.